Bookable resources and field service capabilities for Microsoft Dynamics 365 represent entities that you can schedule work orders to. While you may think of bookable resources as field agents, you can also create bookable resources for equipment, or anything you want to schedule as part of completing a work order. Your system administrator needs to set up bookable resources for your organization in field service. Then, the bookable resources can be used with the schedule assistant and the schedule board to schedule work orders for completion. Let's walk through the steps to create a bookable resource. Start from the field service admin page and click Resources. Click New and then select a resource type. Because User is the most common resource type, it's selected automatically, but you can choose any other type from the list. User is what you want if you're creating a bookable resource for a licensed CRM user. This is usually the best choice for field agents who are employees of your organization, have valid CRM licenses, and will use the field service mobile app to complete their work. Other resource types are Account or Contact. This type are for people who aren't directly employed by your organization and aren't licensed CRM users, for example, subcontractors. These resource types must be associated with an existing CRM account or contact. This resource type is used if you need to schedule work orders to company assets, like service vehicles or special equipment needed by a field agent to complete the work order. This type is selected when you have situations that require multiple resources, like jobs that need several field agents, a service vehicle, and a special piece of equipment. Let's create a bookable resource with the user resource type and then select an active CRM user. The user's name is filled in for you, but you can change it if you need to. This is the name people will see in the schedule assistant and schedule board when they schedule a work order. Select the time zone where the bookable resource is usually located. Time zone is important because you want to schedule resources during their working hours. Next, we'll set the hourly rate, start and end locations, and default warehouse. Adding an hourly rate for the resource lets the system calculate the cost of that resource's time spent on a work order. This is different from the billable amount, which you'll set when you add work order services to the work order. Start and end locations track where the resource starts and ends each day and are used to calculate travel times and resource availability. If you set the start or end location to resource address, then you'll need to make sure the user record associated with the bookable resource has a valid address that has been geocoded with latitude and longitude values so the system can accurately calculate availability and travel durations. If you choose company address for the start or end location, the system will look for geocode values in the business unit record associated with the owner of the bookable resource record. The warehouse is where this resource will typically get parts. The warehouse appears on work order products by default, but can be changed if the resource adds a product to a work order. If the inventory item is from a different warehouse, you can override the default warehouse when they are recording the product on the work order. Click Save to finish creating this bookable resource. Now, we need to set normal working hours for this resource and associate it to service territories, characteristics, and resource categories. To set up work hours, go to Administration, Resources, and select a resource. Then, select Work Hours and click Setup and choose New Weekly Schedule. Select the days this resource is available and if they will observe your organization's business closures. Select the date this schedule starts and the time zone. Now, click the Set Working Hours link and define the normal working hours for this resource and schedule. Dispatchers can now see this resource on the schedule board, and the schedule assistant will only recommend the resource for bookings during scheduled working hours. The new resource now needs a service territory, so the system can match it to work orders in that territory during the scheduling process. For this, we go to the Resource Territories page, click the Add New Resource Territory button, and select a territory. You can add the resource to more service territories if you want. Does this resource have skills, certifications, licenses, or other qualifications that bookings might require? You can add those in Resource Characteristics. In the Bookable Resource record, click the Add button by the Characteristics subgrid. Or select Resource Characteristics from the drop-down menu by the resource name, then click the Add New Bookable Resource Characteristic button. Here you can find and select characteristics for the resource. Your system administrator defines the characteristics for your organization and can also add a proficiency rating to a resource characteristic. Select all characteristics that apply to the resource and save. The scheduling assistant will now recommend this resource for work orders that require the characteristics you selected for them. Bookable resources can also be associated to resource categories. Categories let you group or filter resources for easier selection. To associate a resource to a category, click the Add button by the Category Association section on the Bookable Resource form. Select a resource category, and then click Save and Close. Do this for each category you want to associate to the resource. You can learn more about field service by watching other videos in this playlist, or by visiting this website.